Recently it occurred to me that your algorithm on social media feeds is a lot like life. Your social media feeds algorithm is pretty much a metaphor for life. And what I mean by that is the more you interact with someone's content, the more you see of it. Now, there's a cliche that what you focus on expands, and I've certainly found that to be the case. Whatever you devote the most mental energy to tends to become your reality. If you're going around worried and anxious and beating up on yourself, you'll tend to have a negative mindset. But if you're feeding yourself nourishing thoughts like, I'm capable, I can do this, I got this, then you'll tend to be a little more optimistic and confident. And speaking of algorithms, I think it's important to keep your actual feed on social media clean and kind of pruned. Once a month, I go in and kind of clean up and prune my feed. And I'm not someone who I don't unfollow people for no particular reason. I'm not very hypersensitive. Sometimes people say things that annoy me or irritate me, but I don't unfollow them unless it's something really egregious. But I do have to admit that recently I unfollowed someone who was spewing hate. In addition to being a writer and a filmmaker, I'm a big consumer of pop culture. And there are several YouTube channels that comment about books and movies and television shows and other pop culture trivia that I like to tune into, to entertain myself. That's the great thing about one of the great things about social media is that it's readily accessible 24/7. So recently, this really popular YouTube channel that has thousands and thousands of followers. I listen to it. I used to listen to it all the time. The commentator started spewing homophobic and transphobic rhetoric. And what's really weird is it had nothing to do with the television show she was commenting on. And so I unfollowed. I immediately unfollowed because, number one, that's an issue that's personal to my family. I have a close friend whose parent is trans, and I have a really wonderful family member who's gay, and she and her partner would make wonderful parents. And this commentator was saying that she doesn't believe that gay people should be able to adopt children, and she doesn't think same-sex relationships are healthy. And, I just don't need that kind of hate speech in my feed, in my algorithm. So I unfollowed her. As I said, I rarely unfollow people, but I do think it's important to be mindful of what you focus on and to pay close attention to your algorithm. One quick thing that I wanted to add is that this YouTube commentator that I'm referring to, who shall remain nameless, she must have gotten some blowback about these horrible, offensive comments she made, because in another video I watched of hers before I unfollowed her, she made a big to-do of talking about how she doesn't care what your sexuality is. And I'm sorry, that's the equivalent of saying, I'm not a racist, I just enjoy burning crosses on people's lawns. I'm sorry, I'm not buying that lame excuse. And you know what? After I unfollowed that commentator who was spewing hate speech, videos still came up in my YouTube feed, and I immediately hit the not interested button. So that just goes to show that just as in life, sometimes it really takes a lot of effort to get those negative thoughts out of your mind. They'll keep popping up, but you just have to keep working at it and making an intentional decision to focus on the positive. It really has to be a purposeful decision.